placing all of our assets around our map. We put down some ruins, some trees, some rocks. We built out all of our cliffs. We put some railing along our paths and made some improvements to the outside of the island here, the outer edge. And so in this video, we're going to start getting into foliage. So let's go to our content tab up here and go right back to Quixel Bridge because it is time to find some foliage assets. So let's go over here to the 3D plants section and let's find some stuff. So basically we're just gonna grab a handful, maybe 5 or 6 different assets. You know, a couple different kinds of grass, maybe some different flowers and some ferns or bushes and stuff. So let's just go to the grass section here first. And let's just find maybe something like this. Some dune sword sedge. Yeah, these look pretty nice. So we can grab these and we'll just grab medium quality and download those. And then maybe go down and maybe find another one that we can grab too. We've got some kind of dry dead grass here. I think this would be nice. We could put a little bit on the beach and maybe along the path in the kind of the dry rocky areas. So I'll download this one here as well. So I'll go to so I'm in the weeds section now. And I'm just gonna find maybe a couple decent ones here. Maybe we can grab this white ramping fumitory. Whatever that is. It's some kind of a plant, I would assume. But it looks nice enough in the screenshot there, so I'll grab, yeah, it looks fine. We'll download one of these. I'll grab some of these dry weeds right here. And then I think I'll just grab probably just one more here. Maybe this shore groundsel. Is this a tropical plant? Yeah, maybe I won't. Let's go to the meadow pack, actually. Let's see what else we've gotten here. If there's any flowery type stuff, that might be kind of nice. Add a little pop of color, you know. Maybe you could grab some a shrub or something. Let's see what we got. Oh, this blue lupin. I don't even know if I'm saying this right. I'm not much of a plant guy, so you know what can I say? I'm just downloading nice looking plants, and I think we'll stick with that for now. So I'll just wait for these to download, and then what we'll do is we'll just add them into our project, and I'll show you how to use the foliage editor. All right, so all of my foliage has now been downloaded, so I can just add all of these to my project by just hitting this add button right down here, and then we can start messing around with the foliage brush. So I'm going to close out of that, and let's hop back into the engine here. And we will see we now have our 3D plants. So we've got all of these right here. We've got a variety of different kinds of grass and weed and stuff for each of these different packs, basically. And in the next video, we are going to put them into the foliage editor, and we are going to start painting in all that stuff. I'm going to show you how that works. So I will see you in that video. Alrighty, so in the last part, we finished getting all of our foliage assets into the engine, into our project here. And now it is time to learn how to paint them onto our landscape. So let's go up to this tab right here. This is the foliage editing mode. So we're just going to click this. So when we use Quixel to import foliage, it'll automatically add this in here. And then we can just check the boxes up here for the grass that we want to be able to paint, as you can see, just like so. And yeah, so let's start going over these settings. There's not too much to get into. It's actually pretty simple. A lot of this is going to be similar to the landscape painting, for example. So we've got our paint density, which is just how many instances of our plants we're going to put in at a time. So that's at 1.6. If I set this up to 1, you'll see much much more plant. Obviously, we click and drag, left click and drag to paint this stuff in. And if we want to get rid of it, we just hold down Shift and drag across. Next, we have our erase density. And so this will allow us to, let's say, we've got all this foliage here, and we don't want to erase all of it. We just want to get rid of some of it. What we can do is we can bring this out to like 0.5, and then we're only getting rid of like half the foliage, as you can see here. And so that will allow us to be a little bit more specific if we just want to clean up one area just a little bit. And then we can turn it down to 0 if we want to be able to get rid of all the foliage, just like so. Next, we've got our single instance mode. And what this allows us to do is it makes it so that we can actually just click and just add our foliage in one specific point. So if we're getting really, really into the fine details here and we want, a couple plants there and there, then we can do that. However, one thing to keep in mind is that if you have a bunch checked, like for example here, I've checked 4 foliage boxes, so it's actually painting in all 4 of these pieces of foliage in this one location. So what you're going to probably want to do is either set this to cycle through selected, see, because now when we click, it's actually changing between the different kinds of foliage that we have enabled here. Or what you can do is you can just select one single piece, and then just do it like so. So next we have place in current level right here. And this is, you would use this setting if you are using level streaming. So let's say we have our landscape here, and this is on a kind of like a sub level for streaming purposes to work on, so that we can optimize our game more. Allowing place in current level is going to place our foliage in the level that we are currently in, because you can have other sub levels streaming in as well. So if you have level streaming turned on, you might want your foliage to be painted on the landscape, in the actual level where it resides. But once you get into level streaming stuff, then that might be something that you might want to play around with. Next, we have filters here, and for the most part, just keeping landscape, static meshes, and BSP checked is probably what you're going to want to do. This just allows us to filter what kinds of object we can actually place foliage on top of. So I could say I don't want to put foliage on our landscape, and then you could see we are just putting foliage. I think it's just placing it on the it's placing it on the rocks down there underneath it, but you can see we can paint it on the rocks, but we can't on the landscape up here. Same thing with static meshes, and then translucent is just anything that is translucent, that is masked. So like let's say you've got a window or water, for example, you might have a translucent water material, and so this will make it so that, we're still able to paint on the landscape here, and also this specific water material out here is not, it's not actually translucent, because as you can see, we can paint on it, but that's what that does. And then the last area where we have setting is actually in the individual pieces of foliage here. So if we click on any one of these, we'll actually get a bunch of extra settings. So we can actually set the density for each specific piece of foliage. We can set, whether or not this one is in single instance mode. We can also set the scaling, so we can set minimum and maximum scaling so that we can actually have a little bit of a range. We also have align to normal. This is a handy one that we will definitely, this is a setting we'll probably be using a lot. So if we have align to normal checked, then it's going to paint our foliage pointing in the direction of the face that it is placed on. However, if we take this off, then it'll all point in its default rotation, which in this case is just straight up. We have a random yaw, so this is just going to give us a random rotation for each piece of foliage just to help